2023 meeting of the Business Operations Committee of the Tennessee Public Charter School Commission. This meeting is being recorded and will be available after its conclusion via link on the Commission's website. Commissioners, please make sure your microphone light is on prior to speaking, making a motion, or voting. Additionally, I'd like to welcome our guests from the State Charter School Commission of Georgia who are joining us for this quarterly commission meeting. They are here to engage with us and share their knowledge and experience with us as commissioners. We're so happy to have you with us today. Trajan, please take a roll call of the commissioners.
Commissioner Carter?
Present.
Commissioner Smith?
Present.
Commissioner Woodson? Here. We have 3 of 3 commissioners present. We have quorum.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the commissioners before we begin?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we recess so that we can allow one of our other committees that's got a time constraint to meet. So I guess with that, we would need a second.
It's come to my attention that there is a conflict with commissioner's availability. There's a motion to, in fact, entertain the recess until after the meeting of the Rules, Policy, and Governance Committee. To that end, we've had a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Dejan?
Motion is approved.
Committee stands in recess until the conclusion of the Rules, Policy, and Governance Committee.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the January 26, 2023 meeting of the Rules, Policy, and Governance Committee of the Tennessee Public Charter School Commission. I'm actually so used to us being virtual, I wanted to introduce myself and say I'm Terrence Patterson. This meeting is being recorded and will be available after its conclusion via link on the Commission's website. As a reminder, please make sure that your microphone is on prior to speaking, making a motion, or voting. Before we begin, I'd like to recognize our General Counsel, Ashley Thomas, to provide the statement of necessity for today's meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner. This committee meeting includes an option for the public's participation via a link available on the Commission's website. TCA 8-44-108 allows for a governing body to allow participation by electronic means of communication where a physical quorum is not possible. As committee business requires a decision prior to the regularly scheduled January meeting, the necessity of electronic participation is for the committee's deliberation and action on items set forth in the January 26, 2023 agenda. All votes of the committee shall be by roll call. Again, this meeting is being recorded, and a statement of necessity shall be filed with the Secretary of State after its conclusion.
Thank you, Ashley. Trajan, do you mind taking a roll call of the commissioners?
Commissioner Patterson?
Here.
Commissioner Tucker?
I'm here. Thank you.
Levine? I have 2 of 3 commissioners present. We have quorum.
Okay, great. Hey, Wendy, how are you?
I am great. I'm sorry to leave you solo, Terrence.
That's okay. It's okay. Good to have you with us. So our first agenda item will be a vote to update the commission policies 1.100, 1.300, and 3.600 on first reading, and commission policy 3.700 on final reading. Our second item will be an update on the commission's appeals rule filing, and then finally we'll have a discussion of the commission officer elections. Are there any comments on the agenda before we vote to approve?
None from me.
Okay,
I
great.
would move to approve.
And then I'd like to second that motion. Trajan, do you mind taking a roll call vote?
Commissioner Patterson?
Aye.
Commissioner Tucker? Commissioner Tucker?
Aye.
The motion is approved.
Great. The minutes of the committee meeting held on October 17th, 2022 have been provided. Does anyone have any edits to make regarding the prior minutes before we proceed? If not, is there a motion to approve the minutes from the October 17, 2022 meeting?
I move to approve the minutes from the October.
And I'd like to second that motion. Jajon, do you mind taking a roll call vote?
Commissioner Patterson,
Aye.
Commissioner Tucker,
Aye.
the motion is approved.
The first item on our agenda today will be a discussion and vote on proposed changes to the commission policies 1.100, 1.300, and 3.600 on first reading. I'd like to again recognize Ashley Thomas to describe these updated policies to the committee.
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner. The first policies for review are commission policies, as you stated, 1.100 and 1.300. These two policies contain edits to the conflict of interest forms for both commissioners and staff. The edits were made to be more specific about affiliations and interests that may appear before the commission. I'm proposing this language to increase transparency among the commissioners and the staff. I'm also proposing updates, as you stated, to Commission Policy 3.600. This update provides parameters for applicant submission as a part of the renewal process. Specifically, the policy is updated to instruct applicants to submit a clear and compelling case for renewal, provide a response to the Commission's cumulative performance report, and submit any corrections or clarifications to the report as part of the renewal process.
Thank you. Are there any additional comments before we recommend adoption of the changes to these commission policies? 1.100, 1.300, and 3.600 on first reading to the full commission.
This is Wendy Tucker. I have reviewed these. I am a big fan of transparency, so I think that's great. My only question is, can we vote on these collectively, or do we need to do it individually before I make a motion?
Collective vote is fine, Wendy, and we actually have a question from Commissioner Richards.
Oh, okay.
Thank you
Okay,
for
thanks.
letting me ask a question. I am concerned about the wording of the changes to number 6 on the commissioner's statement. This is so broad because it says or may appear before the Tennessee Public Charter Commission. That basically would mean any charter school in the state, because at some point in time they may appear before us. So any grant that might have been given or that might be given in the future would have to be disclosed, which would have us disclosing things that could happen in the future. And I don't know how we're going to answer that. So maybe we can get some additional insight as to how you vision this working.
This is Wendy. Mr. Chair, can I just make a comment? So
Yeah, sure.
I don't-
Go ahead, Wendy.
the way I read it, it's saying I am currently affiliated with an entity that has administered a grant to one of these people or to one of these entities, right? So it's not like I may someday give a grant. It's I have administered a grant. So I don't know if that solves Commissioner Richards' concerns or not, but just wanted to flag that.
No, I'm just concerned it can be read the other way
The
as
second
well.
half.
And I just wanted, I agree with you. That's the way it should be applied, because that way we're giving a disclosure about something that's already happened, and we're more than happy to be transparent about those things. So maybe our counsel can help us.
Absolutely, Commissioner Richards. That Commissioner Tucker's interpretation was my intent in that language. If it is the will of this committee, I'm happy between first and final reading to make an edit to sort of make that more clear. But that was my intent when I drafted this edit.
If we could look at that, I'd appreciate it.
No, I think that makes sense, Commissioner Richards. Appreciate the comment. And what we'll do is, as we make this motion, we'll make sure that we make provision to evaluate Rule 1.100. Are there any other questions or comments? Is there a motion to adopt these changes on first reading?
I move to recommend approval by the full commission of, on first reading, of 1.100, 1.300, 3.600, with the caveat that our council will look at that specific language to make sure that it's clear. Is that good enough?
Yeah. Yes, and I just
Okay.
like to make a friendly amendment to the motion, and it's
Okay.
the change to question number 6 on Rule 1.100 before final reading.
Perfect.
And I'd like to also second that motion. Rajan, could you take a roll call vote?
Commissioner Patterson,
Aye.
Commissioner Tucker,
Aye.
motion is approved.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda today will be a discussion and vote on Commission Policy 3.700 on final reading. I'd again like to recognize our General Counsel to review this policy with the committee.
Absolutely. For final reading, again, it's Commission Policy 3.700, which is the school performance framework. The commission first discussed these updates at the October 2022 meeting. The detailed work of the SPF updates was conducted by the School Performance and Accountability Committee in partnership with our authorizing team. Final updates have been made based on those conversations, and as was the case in the first reading, this is before the Rules, Policy, and Governance Committee, as it's a policy, and so it falls under the committee's purview. Because any final updates are to be discussed in the SPA meeting, my advice would be for this committee to refer that matter for questions and comments to the SPA committee, and the approval here stand as a matter of committee responsibility.
Thank you, Ashley. Members, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve this policy, as it is our responsibility as the Rules, Policy, and Governance Committee, and refer further questions or comments to the School Performance and Accountability Committee for discussion and vote. Since the School Performance and Accountability Committee has been working closely with the staff on the policy, I would like for that committee to discuss this policy in depth before it goes to the full commission. Are there any other comments or questions before we recommend referral to the School Performance and Accountability Committee on final reading?
This is Wendy Tucker. I just want to say, I hate not being there and saying that, but bravo to the team for all of the incredible work that went into this. I think the final product has hopefully been worth all of their effort.
Thank you, Wendy. Is that also your endorsement of a motion?
I didn't want to move in case anybody else had any. I guess it's just you. Okay, so
It's just the two of us.
I would move that we approve the policy 3.700 as a matter of committee responsibility, and that we refer it for further discussion, questions, and final recommendation for approval to the School Governance and Accountability Committee.
I'd second that motion. Drajan, roll call vote.
Commissioner Patterson,
Aye.
Commissioner Tucker,
Aye.
the motion is approved.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda today will be an update on the commission rule filing from Ashley. I'd like to recognize Ashley to share this update with the committee.
Absolutely. The commission initially approved rules for filing relevant to our appellate process at the July 2022 meeting. Subsequent to that meeting, I engaged in discussion with the Attorney General's office as well as members of the General Assembly. And based on those conversations, as well as discussion with the Executive Director and Chairman of the Commission, my advice for this would be to withdraw those rules. The Commission's authority does not change with our current iteration of the rules. It does not affect the process for our operators or districts. I think this will just continue on in the process that we've done and continue the flexibility that we need to move through our appeal cycles.
Thank you for the update, Ashley. Are there any questions before we recommend approving the withdrawal of the rule filing to the full commission?
This is Wendy Tucker. I am a big fan of not having more process and rules than you need. I would move that we recommend approval of the withdrawal of these rule amendments to the full commission.
I agree and second the motion. Dre John, a roll call vote.
Commissioner Patterson,
Aye.
Commissioner Tucker,
Aye.
the motion is approved.
The next item on our agenda today is a brief discussion regarding the election of officers for the commission. Pursuant to TCA 49-13-105 and Commission Policy 1.100, the chair and vice chair are officers of the commission. The terms of the chair and vice chair are for a maximum of 3 years, and as the initial election of the chair and vice chair of the commission was in February of 2020, it is now time for new nominations and elections. This committee is charged with facilitating the election of those officers, and I'd like to exercise the discretion of the chair to move this item before the full commission for discussion and consideration. As this committee's chair, I facilitate the nomination and election process at our quarterly meeting tomorrow. Do any commissioners have any questions before I ask for a motion to move the nomination and election process to the full commission? And I'd just like to clarify, this is not to make any nominations today, but it is just to facilitate the process tomorrow at the quarterly meeting.
This is Wendy Tucker. I would move that we move this process to the full meeting tomorrow.
And I'd second that motion. Dre John, could you take the roll call vote?
Commissioner Patterson,
Aye.
Commissioner Tucker,
Aye.
the motion is approved.
Thank you all for your attendance and participation at this meeting of the Rules, Policy, and Governance Committee of the Tennessee Public Charter School Commission. Wendy, thank you again for being available. Really appreciate it. And at this time, I'd like to ask if there are any final comments.
Thank you, and thank the commission staff for handling this, and I will see everyone tomorrow, and I move that we adjourn.
I second that motion. Jay John, could you please take a roll call vote for us?
Commissioner Patterson,
Aye.
Commissioner Tucker,
Aye.
the motion is approved.
Great, thank you. The next meeting of the Rules, Policy, and Governance Committee is scheduled for March 23rd of 2023. We stand adjourned.
Thank
Okay.
you.
We'll take a quick break and return at 2:30 for the Business Operations Committee.